Just do this a little bit. Shalom, shalom. Good evening on this first day evening. I was able to live stream for you guys while I was on my trip, but that was pretty quick live streamy stuff, like driving and trying to talk and keep my train of thought, and all that was a little bit difficult. So a little bit better set up tonight, and I will kind of give a little bit of an intro and get this stuff set up before I start making comments. Pastor, am I going to be able to count on you to look at things, or am I going to have to look at things?
Let me finish this and then I'll look at things.
Hey, Lone Star Living. I am no longer in your state.
We had people from his state today.
Yes, I met a new person from your state. His name was Duncan, and he was a very pleasant fellow. Worked somehow with trains that derail and cleaning up messes like diesel,
Never mentioned people.
spilled fuel and stuff like that. Pastor and I decided to swing by Grindstone Ministries' latest project, and we kind of owed him a little time. We said we were going to come another time, and then we didn't come, and so we decided to go catch up. Hello, Travis. Good thing I was already in the YouTube. Westhold Forge. We talked about you a little bit today, brother. You got some skills that are going to be valuable always. With the blacksmith forging and all that stuff. Let's see who else is here. D-Neck, shalom. Miss Wes S, shalom. Hello. Sheepdog Patriot, shalom. All right, so no, dog, you can't. I wanted to get online to talk about that, working together today with other people. There went the flashlight, Pastor. Nobody can even see me. Whoop! I am here. Hang on. We have technical difficulties. Get, dog. Hey. The flashlight just went out. Whoops. Hang on. There.
What happened to the light?
It just went out. You're my technical advisor. You got to help me out there. I have my own flashlight, but trying
Tech team to the rescue!
Yeah, tech team to the rescue. Like, how is this gonna work?
You had it on too bright.
Tibetan throat singing. Is that your skill? Is that skill you think I'm talking about? Right. That might be better. With my old age, if I can get the lighting just right, it'll take 10 years off me. No, but the grind. Hi!
Let me see your hands!
No! Nishisen. It was really, met a lot of people today. We met, I can
Don't
say
say
that.
any real names.
Right, no, Jay Johns, we met, Mad Kel, we met, oh man, we met a lot of brothers. I can't, like you're saying, you can't say all their names. There are probably, what was he saying? There's 24 guys there or something.
It's your party, sweetie.
And some
Can they
people.
see you okay?
Yeah, they can see me okay now. And some brethren that we knew, and what they were doing and are still doing, they were on phase 2 of a restoration of a building on a compound that's going to be used for trafficked children, to take care of them, that they are going to be able to come to this facility, get all kinds of rehabilitation, counseling, be safe, be secure, and the actual, can I say the names of the people who are running that program, do you think?
I think you should just let TJ talk about that and not talk about things in specific like that.
Okay, so be more general. They're getting good feedback. They're getting good feedback for their ideas and so on. And so we went there, and I'm unskilled labor. That's too bright. The last thing you had going on is better. Yeah, about like that. It's probably a little bit better. There were people working on the electric system, making sure the lights worked and the plugins. That's really too bright. Whatever. there were guys who were doing the wallboards and restoring that, doing carpentry, doorways. That's good right there. That's good right there. We can see you. Yes. Hey, Al. Hey. Shalom. What time is it on the East Coast? 10?
An hour after us. It's almost 9.
Well, it's good. Greetings to you. We were talking about, we were doing a,
It looks scarier like this.
yeah, you do, a helpful work to a program that really is worthy. And I was unskilled labor. I was running around. I wound up helping a sister whose main job was the paint, and I was caulking cracks. Sup, yo.
Sup, yo?
Shalom over to Bess. So I was following her around. We had found a caulk gun, and I was doing the caulk into the cracks of, door frames and stuff like that. And this sister knew what she was doing, and she was very precise, and she was going behind me and just, using her finger to level out that caulk and smooth it out. So when the paint went on later, it would be smooth and look really good. But it was such a blessing. It was to have these 24 guys, and they were coming from all over the place in the country, and they were all volunteers. And how they supported each other and how they just hit the job. They were just phenomenal in fixing things, finding out problems, putting up walls, changing things, and Bear has all the details and all his videos and everything. I'm looking at it from an outsider's objective, subjective viewpoint, and it really was the kind of thing that you would imagine most Americans would be doing nowadays, and yet there seems to be so little interest. I was impressed with the skills that these brothers had, that they were willing to spend hour after hour working on this project. They were supporting each other. They were talking to each other about things, about faith, about, politics and everything else. It really was pretty amazing. Hey, stop. And then what occurs to me as Pastor and I keep going on this walk is it's actually a historical thing in, the religions in America, this rise of Christians, usually, but not always, who see the truth of Torah and where it fits into their faith walk, and that a lot of the teachings they've been told about it are incorrect, that verses in the Bible have been taken out of context, or the actual meaning of it was ignored, and so it's just been squished into a picture of it's irrelevant. I'm sorry, what?
I'm on.
Okay. Hey, shalom, Teresa. Who else is on? Christine Taylor, did I see you? Shalom, shalom. So to see the rise of it, to see the growth of it, to see how it's being manifested in the images and the impressions people are getting from it, it would be fantastic, and I think it is sort of starting in its own small way, that brothers of this faith be known as people who can, come together, work on a project, get things done, help out people who are needy. And the other thing, shalom, Stephen. The other thing that came to mind when I was thinking about that particular part of this walk, because there's a lot of different impressions people have been getting, that it's a cult and things like that, was who else, people of faith, do you go to when you want construction projects done? And know that they're going to get done, and that you're going to pay a certain price, and you're not going to get gouged, and you're not going to get strong-armed, and you're not going to get delayed and have to go through tons of paperwork. Well, the Amish, right? You want a barn put up in your backyard if you can talk to the Amish, make the deal. They're going to give you a price. You're going to pay it. They all show up. They put it up in 3 days and then they leave. Shalom. Hey, Haunted 55. Hey, Lena K. Or Lina. Is it Lina or Lena? What if, as part of the culture of this belief system, we get known, the men folk get known for being able to come and do a project and do a good job and not be, methed out or, union problems being in there. And well, these guys can't nail, hammer nails. We got to get a whole nother subcontractor in and all he does is, hammer nails. Lena. Okay. As in Lena Horne. Awesome. Pastor, quit Shanghai my comments, you guys. But that did occur to me that not only will this movement be remembered for people who want to get back to the land, for people who want to start walking the old paths, for people who are going to kind of return to an agricultural life versus, a very high-tech digital modern life. It would be really fantastic if this movement was also known for this kind of thing that Grindstone is doing. Construction kind of projects, helpful kind of projects, community building, things like that. So that's what occurred to me today while that whole work thing was going on. And it was really nice also to meet people like Jay Johns, who was super nice, and Mad Kelp, who was super nice. People my age who are seeing the same truth that I'm seeing, and also younger people who are seeing this truth. And then being able to say, I was brought up this way for 30 years, but once the truth was presented to me, I can change course and I can start following that truth. So that was one of the things I really enjoyed about today. Just there was fellowship, there was good things being done, helpful things being done, and not halfway done.
Yeah, done well.
Done well. Again, Brer talked about that in his videos where they came in and the floor had like another floor on top of it and water was just pouring between the two floors, and this was the solution the people came up with to handle a problem, and they didn't deal with the actual drainage. And what are you doing? Making it brighter again?
Not bright enough. You look like you're
In the dark. Tech team to the rescue. Yep, there. Back to seeing me. That would be a fantastic thing for the belief movement, that it would have that kind of cultural development, that it be known for things like they will come, they will do what they say, they will clean up afterwards, they won't leave a mess, they won't show up drunk. There'll be prayer before meals, and you can fellowship and you can talk to each other and you can uplift each other. Shalom, Pharma, how you doing? How are things up in your neck of the woods? And somebody said something, hang on, wait. Part of our community, like Pastor Dow keeps reminding us of, right? Part of our community, but not having drama and not having discussions, personal attacks online, or not trying to force anyone to do anything. It's completely volunteer. No one's asked for money. The project gets funded and supplied and everything before anybody shows up. And again, nobody strong arms anybody. That's also volunteer. So another thing that was really pleasant, and I talked to a few of the fellows about, was the fact that if you are of this faith system, hey Vicky, yeah Vicky, you were missed today. I was hoping you guys would be there. How are you guys doing? That if I come out to the East Coast for some reason, and I already know people in the area, and I need somewhere to go spend a Shabbat with, that I can come there with the expectation that y'all would be like, yeah, sure, come on, come to join our Shabbat group. We're gonna read the word, and we're gonna eat some things, and maybe listen to a message, or somebody may give a message, but know that
Sasquatch says shalom.
Shalom, Sasquatch. But to know that our faith is what forms us together, and that the expectation of the faith is a certain standard, I guess. Sister Kate, the puppy's all trained. Thanks to your Lena, the puppy's all trained. Thanks to your suggestions. Awesome. Good job, Lena, too, because you had to, you had to do the training, but it's worth it. Very good. Thanks for getting back to me on that. I'd love that, Sister Kate. Haunted 55. You mean that if you went somewhere and knew that you could also connect with other people of the faith? Is that when you mean Haunted 55? I don't have a Shabbat group, Angie Kelly says. They don't just magically drop out of the sky. You do have to do a little searching. You have to look online, like at 119 Ministry, or is it Yah Restoration Ministry also that has a group finder? Eliyah.com has one. Me show up there. Okay. My son and his wife, they live in a small town, but they take the occasional trip to go shopping in different areas, and they have bumped into, seen either a woman wearing a head covering or dressing modestly, or a man or a woman wearing the tzitzit, or maybe it's around the time of the feast, and so they're out, like if it were Passover, just for example, they're looking for a lamb or lamb being sold in the store, and bump into other people also looking. I've seen people, Torah observant people, who would be looking for the unleavened bread around the time feast of the unleavened bread. You could be the Shabbat group, Angie, although it's a little bit, it's harder for the woman, if you're alone, if you're a woman alone, to form a Shabbat group. It's much better to be looking for one already established that you can kind of show up. Husband is not on board. So it's going to be harder for you, because the husband is the head of your house. So you can't just undermine his authority. At the same time, allowing him to be the head of your household. And the word says for the one who is...
Did you see what Albo said?
He said,
You could be the Shabbat group.
Right, but that was before we said what we said. It's harder for her, and then she said her husband's not on board.
That's hard.
Yeah, so you've gotta kind of be the best servant in your husband's household. We are grateful for our home fellowship. It's taken us years to build a community here in Jersey. Numbers fluctuate, but it's been steady. Now, Lena, is that Jersey, like England Jersey or New Jersey? No husband there for Haunted 55. Yeah, if you're a woman, it's better if you can try to search for something that's already established, without being too vulnerable. But I was trying to say for Angie, you try to be an example so that your husband sees that you're not just going to undermine his authority. Never Jersey, newer Jersey. Okay. That he knows that you're a woman of faith, but that, you're recognizing that he is the head of the house. And so you kind of convince him that this is a wonderful way by your example. East Coast, USA. Okay, yeah. I think it's probably easier in more populated areas because we're such small numbers to find the believers. But another thing, like my son has lived in a lot of small towns, and then it's usually a bigger town within an hour of him where there may be a group. And sometimes you can find them online. Sometimes you can find them by driving around and you see a sign that says, hey, Torah study here or Shabbat study or something like that going on. Hey, McMikey. Hey, David Campbell.
You're seeing this.
It comes up on my screen. Hey, Grandma Ginger's Farm. Thank you for the review on my Etsy page. I do appreciate that. You and one of the other guys, Ryan, I think, went back, and I really did want feedback on the magnets that you got. I wanted to make sure that they were what I thought they were instead of me just fooling myself about it. You betcha. Anyway, yeah, I think we Torah believers need to understand we're setting a foundation for this whole movement and to keep it on the up and up, to keep it on the be a good example, be a good example. And men folk being reliable and able to go do projects and do a good job of it, it's just part of that. And also that we extend hospitality to other believers is a part of that, that we be known for that. So that was one of the things that was occurring to us today. And then after we were all done, see if anybody has any other questions or something like that.
My thing's not loading. I'm trying to do it a different
Yeah,
way.
it's okay. Then after we were done with that, Pastor and I, we had a list. We had started up a list last week for supplies we felt like we didn't have yet, which is kind of astounding to me, really, when you think about it, because we've been prepping for, 30 years, so you'd think we'd have everything under the sun. Yeah, developing the hospitality of Abraham. Exactly. That someone coming into your area doesn't know what's going on. If somehow they get your contact info, that you can at least say, yeah, is a group, or we all meet at the park, or do you need anything? Let me tell you where you can, best place to eat, or that hotel over there's, you get it. You get the idea of that.
You don't know how to make chat show up on this phone.
Or use the other phone.
Well, the other phone's not showing chat.
My tech team's having technical
First world
difficulties.
problems.
5 by 5. You got a response on your test. Good deal. So then we went out to Westhill Forge said he sees it too. We went out to get the stuff on our list. So we go to our local China Mart, and we got 2 carts full of stuff.
Okay, I'm back up.
Good evening. Nice to see you, Mrs. Pickles.
I see you too, David.
We got 2 carts full of stuff, and
Don't say how much it was.
I'm not going to do that thing. There were some items, like the Parmalat milk that I was talking about on my live stream just a couple of days ago. It's a shelf-stable milk in a box. Everything but 2 boxes of the light version were on the shelf at our local China Mart. There was none of the kind of bubbly flavored water that I like, but I don't know that anybody's seen that as a prep for, a possible emergency coming down the pike. Was there shortages of anything else, Pastor, that you remember?
Parmalat,
Yeah,
rice was low.
rice.
Distilled water was low.
Distilled water was
And there
low.
was one section of some kind of toilet paper not there, but there was lots of other toilet
I
paper.
might have bought a few things today that taste good on rice. We may have gotten some cans of stuff like that, but what we wound up doing is buying a flat of the evaporated milk, because Parmalat is sort of like that anyway. Evaporated milk is shelf stable milk too, and you just kind of add water to it, reconstitute it a bit. And as we were going through the line, China Mart, yeah, hey Jesse, sugar and flour are low here. Okay.
We got sugar too.
Sugar was fine there, and I didn't really look at the flour because we've got so much wheat put away that flour is not something we really need to worry about. Yeah, our China Mart was getting low on certain things. Ours had enough cold meds. We got cold meds and fever meds. There were cough drops. What was your China Mart low on? You guys go ahead and share that. A friend of mine sent me a picture of local Sam's, and the rice and beans were empty. Yeah, our son sent us the picture of his store, and it was no bleach. All the bleach gone.
We didn't even look at bleach.
We didn't even look at bleach
Still had it, all right.
because we've got some bleach already, and then he ordered the powdered stuff from somewhere. So, but he was going through the line, and the clerk was kind of questioning us, right?
Yeah, why
She
do you
was
have
kinda
so
like-
many sick people at home? Why are you buying all this food? Why do you get so many sardines?
Yeah, why are you getting all those sardines? Do you have sick people at home? Do you have a store? Like, are you stocking your store? And we were just like, no, we're just
I
here.
just looked at her and
Yeah.
said, no.
Just picking up some stuff. Nothing to see here. I wonder if the folks buying the rice and beans know how to cook them. The pool shock should be coming soon, right? Powder name pool shock. Yeah. I didn't order it. I mean,
No, the powder name was calcium hypochlorite.
oh, calcium hypochlorite.
Chlorite.
Chlorite. I told them I have a very big family. Yes. Our very big family has a very strange diet, let's just say. I have a case of Spam because I like Spam. Come
But does he
on.
have sliced pineapple rings?
Do you have sliced pineapple rings? Pastor wants to know. He's kidding though, right?
I don't know. It's Albo. We
Whoa.
never know with Albo.
Come on, Albo. You can't like Spam. Man,
No.
you know better. That's not even really food. And he doesn't have any pineapple. Ugh. You do what? Grandma Ginger's farm. Don't tell me you have Spam.
No, she's talking pineapple.
Pineapple. She has the pineapple. Excellent. Pineapple juice is supposed to be
Spam
really
is
good for
very
coughs.
popular in Hawaii and Guam and
And
the Pacific. See, Al really likes Spam.
Al, no.
You cook it with brown sugar in the frying pan.
No. It's so bad for you. Find another meat and flavor it like the Spam. Put a lot of salt on it. And pepper. Turkey Spam is good. There you go. Spam yuck. Yeah, sorry. Blah. Spam bad. Exactly. Not good for you. It's like this stuff that Pastor grew up with. What is that stuff called? Spackle? No. It's what is it? Your dad finally
Scrapple.
made Scrapple.
Rapple scrapple.
Scrapple. Spam
Delicious.
comes pre-salted. Exactly. So just take a chunk of beef, Albo, and salt the snot out of it and throw some, oregano or something in it. And wham bam, you have Spam. I have some conversations that Sam started over all the rice and beans in my cart. Exactly. I've been in the same situation. A sister and I went and bought a whole thing of it. We're pushing around and people are like, do you know something we don't know? Vienna sausages we ate scrapple to, I had no idea what it was made out of.
Nobody does.
Nobody does, and you don't want to know, right? I mean, we just had the conversations while we were at the event about bacon.
Beef. They had beef bacon like 3 days in a row.
Yes,
We need to get some
the
of
guy
that.
who was doing the cooking had found a source of beef bacon, and all beef bacon is a salted, smoked beef, right? And
Yeah,
cut
that's the
into
fatty
strips.
part, probably the belly.
Well, somebody else said make it out of brisket. Brisket's a pretty fatty, beefy meat, so just salt it and smoke it, and boom, slice it thin, you have bacon. Mystery meat, somebody said.
What do
Exactly.
you think about all online the survival food sites?
What do you mean by what do I think about them? Do we order food from those kind of places? No, not normally. It's usually pretty expensive. Beef bacon. Yeah,
Oh, I was finally able to get beef bacon, Han had said.
yeah.
Our butcher uses
Brisket,
said
because it's
Grandma.
exactly it's a fatty meat and it tastes pretty good.
Wagyu beef bacon. I must try it. That sounds delicious.
It does sound delicious. Yeah, Albo, I think it's much easier, at least for us, for me, to just dehydrate my own.
It's not
food
easier.
if I want
It's
it.
cheaper. It's easier to slap a credit card down and have it delivered to your house in 2 days.
Yeah, but it sticks in my craw to pay like $8 for a meal that I know didn't cost them $8 to do.
Oh, now you're starting to sound like Bernie Sanders. Where's your capitalist spirit?
I've got capitalist spirit, but in the matters of food, I'm just really stubborn about. I don't want to. I don't want to pay that price. I should use it. I should be able to do that month, and it'll be healthier for me. But if if you're not down, if you don't want to sit there and make your own jerky and
Mountain
dehydrate
House.
vegetables,
Mountain
Mountain
House
House is supposed to be a very good, and
But it's expensive.
it's expensive, but if you can get your hand on MREs, there are tons of calories and they taste
But they don't last that long.
okay. $2,000 plus for a year supply.
From who?
From Mountain House, Al, or he said a survival site.
I don't think you can get a year's supply of Mountain House for 2K.
Yeah, 2K is not
going
going to buy a year's supply of Mountain
I don't
House.
think. Maybe it does, but I don't
But,
think so.
you know, Pastor Joe recommends you just get 250 pounds of rice and beans and put them in buckets with some,
More than that.
what do you call it?
Mylar and oxygen absorbers.
Mylar and oxygen absorbers, or dry ice if you want to do that. A lot of local
Renee Stump said hello.
grocery stores
Renee
carry
Stump,
dry.
I just learned who
ice.
you were today. Tell her I said hi.
Pastor says hi.
She's
He
our,
just
like,
learned who you are.
Lawyer or whatever. Whatever.
I don't know what you
I
mean.
know you don't.
Hey, Shalom, Bubba X. We were out on the project site today and we're doing what we could do. I caulked some of the rooms. The image is getting,
It'll settle down.
yeah, it'll settle down. Cassie wife, Shalom, Shalom, Cassie. We're talking about a little bit earlier just how, as believers, we need to be hospitable to each other. We've been running 2 dehydrators for a week because I got a good deal on celery, oranges, apples, and going to make jerky tomorrow. Right, Abel, you could get a dehydrator at Walmart for less than $100 and then just go buy bags.
Well, when frozen vegetables go on sale, they've already been blanched, so you can
Right.
throw them directly into
Frozen
the dehydrator.
vegetables have already been blanched, so when they go on sale at someplace like China Mart for 50 cents a pound of peas, take them home, throw them in your dehydrator and dehydrate them, and then they take up no room and they don't weigh very much. Another thing we've looked into over the years is chia seeds are highly nutritious. They're tiny.
Mucilaginous.
Yeah, they're mucilaginous, and so if you take them and put them in something like some dried chicken soup
Ramen.
or ramen, and then throw in some of those dried peas that you dehydrated, you're creating, I mean, I think they said a cup of that, of
It's
chia.
calorie dense.
So calorie dense, that's enough for a day's worth of calories. So it's chia's not cheap. Chia's not cheap, but like, you know, a container this big is $11, but that's a lot of cups of chia. And it's
I told Fortune's a friend who got a freeze dryer. Those are nice.
freeze dryers are nice, but boy, do you have to refrigerate the
No.
frozen veggies? No, of course not.
You store them in a Ziploc bag
Yeah,
and you're
just
covered, Al.
store them in a Ziploc bag or put them in a canning jar so that moths can't get at them, and they're ready to go. Someone else was saying sprout alfalfa. It's very nutritious too. And also granola. We did research on granola. Granola doesn't usually weigh a lot, and
Pretty calorie dense.
it's pretty calorie dense. If you have like a nature food store, go in there. They usually have, you know, how many calories it has in the granola. And I think a cup was 1,100 calories. So you could have that with the chia and some of this, you know, chicken noodle soup, put it all in one bowl. You've got enough calories and it doesn't weigh hardly anything. It takes up almost no room to do those things. So that's some of our shortcut, you know, suggestions for putting up food. The one thing that I was wondering about while we were at this event, there were only a couple of women there. I was one, and there was like one other lady. And I thought about that. So, okay, so why are these women not coming with their men when they
Maybe
go on
somebody's
these
got to stay home and
projects?
watch the kids in the house and all that.
But that's exactly right. Somebody's got to stay home and watch the kids in the house and you know, answer the phone and make sure the furnace doesn't turn off and the water heater doesn't break and, you know, all those things. So I felt a little bit better after that because I didn't want to think women of faith were not as together. But yeah, so no, somebody's got to stay home and take care of stuff. 4,000 worth. Freeze dry and then put them into mason
Yep,
jars.
you can just stick them in the freezer. I mean,
Chia. That's exactly right.
Right.
Hey, lamp keeper.
into the cupboard.
No problem. Good to see you there. Hi, Spaz Mama. 4,000 worth of freeze dryer. It's nice. The thing that we were not super psyched about the freeze dryer was it takes a lot of electricity and time. I think the person that we knew who bought one was saying, you know, I'm going to put this food in here tonight and it's going to run all night long. and it'll be ready like in the afternoon the next day. And even just one of the bigger dehydrators. You mean we can't lock the teens in the basement? I'm not saying you can't do that. That's up to you, the parent. Um, yeah. But like even running a big dehydrator, we got a really nice dehydrator. It's what, 810.
It looks like
trays.
a big microwave.
It looks like a huge microwave. It's like top of the line dehydrator, but man, did it jack up the electric bill.
Oh yeah, we can't use it here on solar.
There's no way we're going to use it on solar, but the cool thing is the solar dehydrator works on sunlight and it doesn't take any electricity to do it. Yep, you got to keep it going 24/7. Exactly. So I think a solar dehydrator is a much more
We like ours.
economical way to do your dehydrating. Exactly. And I highly recommend solar ovens too. So, have you guys been also checking at your local stores? Have you been topping off your preps? Have you been paying attention to what's going on in your area? Lock them in the attic, less chance of escape. You've been topping off your preps. You guys looking at your medical stuff? Westhold Forge, what do you think? We've already had a lot of sickness in our area. There's people still coming down with stomach bugs and fever and everything amongst our acquaintances. Not getting enough sun to dry outside, but my dehydrators don't use much. Grandma Ginger, are you using one of the kind of round ones? Because they don't. It takes them a bit longer because they're not as strong, but I don't think they use as much power. What's going on with that?
What?
Strawberry out of it are amazing.
He's talking about the freeze.
Yeah, the freeze dry. Yeah, absolutely. This, nothing. I was just holding it up because I like it. Went to Walmart today, and a few places on the shelves were slim pickings, but I attribute that to the usual weekend shopping. Maybe skipping a trip.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad idea, Westhold.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, Westfield, especially if it's going somewhere near where you might, you have two. I'm a teacher, and I get sneezed and coughed on regularly. Oh, you poor dear. That was something that our daughter, she was teaching for about 5 years. She was an English teacher in middle school to high school, and she caught every bug that those kids picked up over the summer. The school would start, and she would be sick for like 3 months on and off with all sorts of illnesses. Ugh. I've been topping up for a month. Hey,
Ms.
BK.
Pickle said there's no hand sanitizer available. You can make it with rubbing alcohol and aloe.
Right. You can make your own hand sanitizer with rubbing alcohol and aloe. You just mix the two together. Lots of topping off here. We did a big Wally World, Sam's, and Aldi's order this week. Everything's in stock. Good in Sparta, Tennessee. Topping up for a month. We got our first confirmed case in Oregon, and it's going to come out. It's much worse. I'm at a university. The store shelves are starting to get cleared out near me. Has not hit Southern Cal yet. Waiting for the bug to hit the windshield. I love the way you put that. Daughters in Washington report no hand sanitizer. And in Washington, up there by Seattle, I mean, they had the one death, but they have their eye on like 750 people who are self-quarantining. Man, that's just like, can't get candles at mine, or lamp oil, or wicks.
You can get most of that on Amazon.
You can get that on Amazon, Pastor's saying. We have Bike Week here next week. The extra 500,000 people expected in it. Yeah, that's every year though, right? So some people are looking forward to that. Picked up 6 bottles of bleach at Home Depot, the cheap and round ones. And this week I will put jerky in my small propane stove on the lowest setting. Yeah, that's another way you can dehydrate things too, is to just blanch it yourself or cut it really thin and then open your oven door just a little, like put a spoon in there or something, and have your oven on a very low setting. And do that for several hours until whatever it is you're dehydrating is, really, really dry. Salt, that's another problem. I'm making the Nixon mixture Zach Bauer is recommending. Okay, don't know anything about that. Wes says, start over, I am late. You want to talk about someone who knows how to give you tips on doing stuff with very little and giving you accurate information. Wes S is like an encyclopedia. I don't recommend some of the things he eats, but
Outside, have you ever made pemmican? I have.
Pastor's made pemmican, and pemmican, we found out this year, hackberry is a tree that has really bumpy bark on the bottom, and it has little teeny kind of reddish brown fruit on it, and it's wintertime fruit. It comes down like November to February, and that's the fruit that they mixed with the venison to make pemmican. And it's a seed and a fruit. Like the seed is edible and the fruit part's edible, and I think you just pound it all and then like lay it thin, let it dry. But Wes S will know too. Also, elderberry
I
mixed
made
with
it
the
with
vodka. Yeah, that's a
venison,
good
turkey,
idea.
Peanut butter and dried cherries. It was delicious.
The pastor said peanut butter, dried cherries, and venison. I don't know that they.
I didn't want to use lard, so I made it that way, and it was good.
Oh, that's right. They used lard.
Yeah, they used lard. They rendered venison.
Rendered venison fat, which is going to be kind of funky.
Terrible. And
It's just
bison
not
fat's
very-
probably pretty
Yeah,
good.
bison fat would be a lot better, or even duck fat.
But
Duck
you can
fat's
make it with
supposed to be
peanut butter,
good.
and it tastes good. And it has almost as many calories.
The only thing about anything with fat in it won't last a long time. But it was probably something they were having seasonally. Like every year we make
And a
pemmican.
fist-sized amount of
Pemmican.
would feed you for a day.
Feed you for a day. So it's going to have protein, some fat, and some fruit. My immune system has gotten pretty strong. Add cinnamon oil and a little tea tree also. Yeah, the elderberry mixed with vodka is great, and we have it at our other house and didn't have it while we were sick with the flu.
No kidding.
Figures, right? But we did okay. We did okay.
What's that said? If you add salt, it stretches the shelf life.
If you add salt, it stretches the shelf life of the pemmican. I
Yep.
made onion, ginger, cough syrup, and a new batch of elderberry today. That sounds really effective. Pastor got really sick. What was that, about 3 years ago? We were heading to a conference, and he was asked to be a guest speaker. And we got strep somehow. We got the streptococcus bacteria
Yeah, it went up into my sinus.
somehow. So it was in our throat, but we weren't taking it seriously. And then his just took off. And so it went from just in his throat to up in his sinuses. And then his whole face started to swell. And he wouldn't go to the doctor. He wanted to give his presentation, and he just laid in bed with his face bright red. And I had
That rosacea, or whatever they call that too.
I can't even erysipelas. It's called erysipelas when your whole face is red and swollen with this germ, and it abated. It reduced for a period after I had the chef whip up a French onion soup with garlic in it. And when he ate that, the redness went away just for the time that was in his system, plussing it
Time
up.
for me to give my talk.
Plussing it, right. He went and gave his talk, comes back, and then falls back into, it's overwhelming him. But yeah, onion syrup,
Crazy connects
cough
that
syrup
way.
would be really good. Daughter in Washington is 5 months pregnant. She is quite concerned. Mrs. Pickles, man, I'd have her come live with you. As bad as I hate to do it, I'm going to probably skip. Right? I mean, you have to be smart.
You know what? You're behind.
Oh, whoa.
So just go to. I'll tell you what to do.
I really like you, Sister Kate. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your kind words. Wes, I know you say silly things sometimes, but you know what you're talking
Wes said he's
about.
going to the doctor's office tomorrow because he has a cough that won't go away.
Oh, no. You can use beef tallow. There you go. And beef tallow tastes pretty good, actually.
Normally people add garlic too. I'm just allergic, so I have to skip the garlic part, said Renee.
Okay. Pemmican, they think was made back in the 1800s and it was still good, they said.
We're past that.
If it was really dry, Albo, it would have been. 2 months, you've had a cough and it's steadily getting worse?
He's got the coronavirus.
Does not after 2 months. So,
Yeah, he probably should go have that looked at.
yeah. Yeah. It's probably some kind of, well, I'm not even going to say those words. I'm not going to give him power. I hope it's just an allergic reaction to something.
That's probably what it is.
Right? And they
Dust
give you
mites or
something like a
Beer germs.
what did he say?
Steve
Beer
Wilson
germs.
said beer germs.
No, Wes, I hope it's an allergic reaction to something and they give you some
He said he knew
anti-inflammatory.
that trip to China was a bad idea.
Well, you got to stop going there and getting that vat soup, brother. Just give it up. It's unclean.
Grandma said fire starter.
I saw that Set Apart Homestead gave the recipe for fire cider, but the thing with the stuff like that, unless I've tried it myself under a condition where I'm sick and I need to get better, I don't know if I can recommend it or not.
Tell me about that tea you make me when I'm sick. That's really good.
Yeah, wait a minute. Crazy Canuck said a hernia operation this Friday, somewhat nervous based on all the stuff.
Tell him I had one. It was easy.
Yeah, it's not one of those operations that's experimental, Crazy Canuck. I mean, they've been doing those for a long time.
I had one. No problem.
And yeah, it was not a big deal. Pastor had one. So Master Tonic is great. I made a batch about 10 years ago and have 16 ounces left. So Renee, what is fire cider good for? What's
Anything that ails you.
I think it's allergies, but it is old already. Exactly,
Steve
Wes.
Wilson, I went home right after. In and out.
My husband's boss had a cough for 5 months, but thankfully he's recovered. And yeah, he went right home after he had that surgery, and there was some recovery where he wasn't supposed to exert himself. But after that, he's been much back to normal. I felt better after drinking a pint of homemade cactus wine.
Most people do.
Yeah, that's going to make you feel good no matter what's wrong with you. But what I was going to say is sometimes when you have a cough, you can cough so hard that you cause the inflammation. And whatever it was that was making you sick, you can be better from that, but your lungs are still irritated because you coughed so hard. And another thing that it could have been Wes S. could have been bronchitis, because that's basically just,
Al said think about food allergies.
yeah, bronchitis is just an infection of your bronchial, and that can go on for a while. Al is saying think of food allergies. Maybe there's something you ate
I think you can also develop food allergies.
for 2 months ago that caused an inflammation and it's still just ongoing, or it's something that you're eating regularly that you became allergic to and you didn't know that now.
C103's here.
Hey, Mark, nice to see you, brother. Would you shush? It's not like anybody knows. I'll be right back, you guys. I've got to let my whining dog out. Come on. Come on, you knucklehead. Don't drop it. Don't make things fall out.
Well, we're experiencing technical difficulties, so I'll just sit here and talk to y'all until Sister Kate gets back into the studio. She had to run out and take care of a big dog. Hi, I'm good. No, I got it. They're gonna give me a raise for filling in. They like the way I do. No, I'm kidding. Come on,
I'll
sit
listen
down.
in. I'll listen in. I can read the comments over there. I'm all right with it. Yeah. Okay. Has it been kept refrigerated? Master Tonic will keep indefinitely.
Al said if he gets too much chocolate, he sometimes get a migraine. At a ruddy nose. Tell him there's no such thing as too much chocolate.
Her 65-pound chihuahua. Migraines from chocolate. We had a friend who, when he overate pistachio nuts, which are so
he didn't
yummy,
figure that out for a while.
and it took him a really long time
And
to
what did it
figure
do to
out.
him?
Gave him these huge
Like
red
rashes. on
red
his
rash
arms.
patches in his elbows, both of them, like huge. The more he ate, the bigger that patch got. And he thought he had somehow gotten in contact with
Chemical
poison
warfare.
ivy.
Okay,
Poison
yeah.
ivy.
Right. he
And
did
so
that
he
with
thought
poison
it was a reaction. He's like, it's weird because I didn't, I don't normally react. And then found out that he had eaten those pistachio nuts and it just broke him out really bad.
As soon as they figured that out, he was
Etsy
good.
page review, Ryan, but I'm not a guy. Wait a minute. I'm Ryan, but not a guy. Pharma, you're Ryan? You're Ryan with the long last name? I'm not even going to say it. It started with a C, I think. A C and an R. Well, thank you so much. That was really sweet. Thank you for the order and thank you for the review. I appreciate it. 65, that's an obese. Men can be troublemakers and high maintenance. No. No. Stealing the show. Yeah, Westhold, you guys got that glimpse of the elusive Pastor Joe.
In his
Ginger?
native environment.
Ginger, garlic, horseradish. I love horseradish. Onions, hot peppers, extracted and vinegar. Renee, that is very, very close to what our friends around here like to call a hot toddy, which really is some kind of drink. But that's the kind of thing I mix up for Pastor when he's got a runny nose or a cough kind of deal going on. I take some kind of tea, and it can depend, whatever you feel like, licorice or whatever. And I put basically all those ingredients in it, and sometimes a little shot of whiskey, and the hot peppers and everything, and let him drink that. And it kind of causes your symptoms to go away for a while. I don't think it heals everything,
It
but
makes you feel good.
but it.
Crazy Connect wants to know if you're going to go big on your garden this year and thoughts on indoor gardening.
Okay, I'll get to there in a minute. NyQuil and DayQuil are both wonderful in liquid form
Weed bottom and
for the flu, but the capsules have possible pork or horse gelatin, according to the Vicks website. Okay, we get the liquid form too. Little honey and ours. Okay, I'm way behind. Are you going to go big on your gardens this year and thoughts on indoor gardening? I don't see any problem with indoor gardening. Yeah.
You need grow lights, I think.
Right, you need grow lights, and grow lights use power. And we are being off grid. We just are like, we can't be bothered to run that kind of stuff, but you're going to avoid bugs if you grow stuff inside. I don't know how many nutrients that plants grown inside are going to have. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to add to the soil some nutrients because when they're growing outside, I don't know if you know this, but when rain comes down and there's lightning that hits the rain, lightning nitrogenizes the rain, and so the rain is actually feeding your plants. That's why grass grows after rain and everything looks greener, because it's liquid fertilizer. So if you're indoors, you're going to be having to add, nutrients, fertilizer, nitrogen to whatever you're growing inside, but you're going to avoid bugs, and that's a big deal. We do want to go big this year with growing things because we did Chimatah last year. We didn't have a whole lot that we put away because you're not supposed to. You're just supposed to eat what's growing. And so we are going to plant and try to have a big garden. Absolutely. And hopefully do some canning. Yeah, Renee says fire cider has honey added.
Miss
And
Pickles wants to know what your luxury prep food is.
luxury prep food. We don't have any.
M&M's.
We gave up luxuries. M&M's aren't going to last a long time though, because their ingredients start to break down over time. A luxury prep food would actually be if we get.
Filet mignon.
Thanks for answering the
Sorry.
question.
Well, I'm sitting here.
Would be if our orchard actually was able to bear some fruit this year, and we could. I plan on drying that, like the old-timey apple rings on a string behind the big stove in there in the winter. That would be a luxury. I think they're really, really good right in the middle of winter. Just add more honey. Just don't cut the whiskey. Yeah, whiskey with honey added. Sounds like a great cold medicine. Buffering causes some interesting images. Chocolate. Wes says chocolate. Mine is macaroni and cheese. Seconding the M&Ms. Popcorn. I mean, black licorice. Interesting. Yum. Pastor loves that. I mean, I did. Our local store had the after Valentine's Day chocolate sale. You know, everything that's the chocolate that's pink colored M&Ms and things like that. So I did buy several bags of that. But it's not going to last 5 years. I mean, it's probably going to, you can probably count on it lasting about a year before it starts to degrade. And I was thinking about that. I'll just have to do without chocolate. There's other ways. Hey, aha, see? Syrup will be our luxury food item when we tap our trees and we get that yummy, yummy, yummy sap and we cook that down to be syrup. That stuff is off the chain. Scotch, says Sasquatch. Taco seasoning. Dark baker's chocolate and sugar. And if you have goat milk, you can chocolate. Exactly true. And if you put up cocoa powder and some sugar and you have something like canned milk, you also can make a kind of chocolate. And cocoa powder will last forever as long as bugs don't go in it. PJ's must be coffee. The Macallan. For a while, I got into the habit of melting baker's chocolate and adding stevia. Not the same, but still good, right? Stevia is pretty good. And growing a stevia plant would be another way to have sweetener that you don't have to go to the store to buy. You can just take the leaf right off that guy and eat it. But Yahweh.
How many gallons did we get of maple sap? How many gallons of sap did we get this year?
At least 60.
Yeah, we got, tell Westhold Forge we got 60 gallons of sap.
Westhold Forge, I think we got about 60. I have friends up north got 250. So.
But we only tapped, what, 12 trees?
Right. This is the thing, Westhold Forge. We only tapped 12 trees, and we only tapped them after we all realized.
It's a little bit late.
Right. Holy snap, we've got this. So I think tapping the trees is more dependent upon the temperatures. So if it's below freezing at night and up to 50 during the day, that's the perfect span so that the sap will be drawn up. And so as soon as the temperatures do that thing, I think that's when you tap. And we, it was just very spontaneous how it came about. So this year, I think we got about 60 gallons of sap, and it boiled down to, like, what is that, 4, 6 something quarts of syrup. But it was really good. What kind of maples did you tap? So Lamp Keeper, we don't know.
Big ones, old ones.
Big ones, old ones. They have yellowish gold leaves when they're ripe. The bark to me is nothing spectacular. Like I couldn't tell if it was, one maple tree or the other.
And it makes a lovely syrup.
And the reason we know it's maple is because it's got crazy Canuck. Look at his little avatar. It has the 5-fingered leaf on it, so we know it's a maple because of that. But we don't know if it's sugar maple or, white maple or yellow maple or whatever. The other thing we found out, because Sister Kitty's the one who does the research, many different trees have sap.
Yeah, like sycamore.
You can tap many different trees, sycamore trees, apple trees, but if you tap oak and elm, who also have sap, they will die after you've tapped them. I got a couple of giant bags of chocolate chips and put them in canning jars, boiled down 4 quarts of maple syrup today. Hey, that's a lot. Wow. I forgot about tapping my birch. I think I will again this year. It's been 10 years since I've done it. Yeah, birches are supposed to be one of the trees you can tap. That special bottle was awesome.
They had scotch on the first trip, I guess.
Nice. Well, I remember, Vicki, you had something really tasty when we saw you last. Was it home brewed beer or was it wine from your local winery or something? It was really good.
Spaz Mama wants to know the taps to temp again.
Okay, so Spaz Mama, the trees have to go below freezing at night and up to around 50 during the day. That is the optimum temperatures. And when the temperatures are closer, there's a scientific thing going on there, but the sap won't be drawn as much. The beans are like eating candy. We have 40 gallons of sap from trees. Whoa.
Works for 2 people.
From 4 trees, works for just 2 people. Well, yeah, absolutely. So you use 10 gallons to get a quart, which is actually a really good ratio. That's like half of
Yeah.
what. So are your trees kind of older?
Beans from the honey mesquite is what he was talking about.
Oh, cool. The heat is good for stomach aches. It might at first, but it goes away. Yeah, beer from the local brewery, Vicky. I remember that. It was really smooth. I liked it. Okie dokie, thank you very much. You're welcome. The beans from the honey mesquite. I wonder how it got that name. Honey mesquite. So what do you call that grass that has the burrs that sticks to the bottom of your feet, Wes says? Because, boy, I got introduced to them when I was down there visiting. Could not walk out in the yard without having a foot full of those little round spiky burrs.
Burr clover.
Burr clover. Oh, I didn't like it. Not much at all. Do the goats eat that stuff? By Jiminy. I call them
I call them
demonic. Exactly. It's like torture. It's not bad enough that I'm in a place where the soil is sand and there's stinking hot. You've got to have this grass. Yes, you can eat it also. You eat the grass then, I guess, before the birds come out on it. Because I cannot imagine burr soup. I know you I know you know many things, Wes, but I don't know if I can do that. Yes, we are very pleased with our maple syrup production this year. It is
Sent me a
replaced.
picture of that's his child at Sam's standing on the pallets. They're empty. No rice at the Sam's here.
At the
Wow.
Sam's here?
Yeah, out of rice.
Wow. Grass burrs, yes. Grass burrs. Maple syrup production is replace a lot of our sugar. Husband has made beer with the maple sap instead of water. Highly recommended. Sounds good. That's exactly what we were thinking. Because sugar production, you know, Americans, we have this sweet tooth. And so you have some options. You know, it's not just you can grow the sugar beets, which apparently is very labor intensive and not much return. You can have bees and honey, but you know, we all know the thing with the bees and the honey and the hive collapse and Roundup maybe killing them and so on. So it's worth it. Honey is absolutely wonderful, but if you live in a commercial area where they're spraying crops and everything, you're fighting a losing battle. There's sorghum, which is it's a process, right? You have to have a big grinder unless you're just going to do like a little teeny bit. And again, you know, there's a sap deal and you've got to boil stuff, but it's really good for you. Sorghum molasses is just really good. It's full of iron and all sorts of nutrients. So if you have like flat land that you can plant the sorghum in, it's great. But for us, it's really, really rocky, so it's not really an option. Okay, Lena. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, your trees are older, Mrs. Pickles. Ours too. That's how we could get.
Spasmama wants to know what dog rice is.
Burr clover has no sticker. Wait, we got so many conversations going on. Grass burrs have stickers. I think it was grass burrs, Wes. I think that's what he had. Not my kid, a buddy of mine. Up there, I got dog rice. Burn the property to the ground if it has grass burrs or get goats. Dude, you would get that point. About day 2 after they stuck in everything that you had on you, you would burn it. Yeah, sorghum. Burr clover makes flour from seed pods and tea from the leaves. Awesome. See, that sounds like the kind of plant I like, burr clover. Spasmo, dog rice is rice that you buy to feed your dogs. Instead of getting, you know, commercial dog food, you just buy a bag of rice and then you like throw some eggs or something on there and, you know, supplement it a bit, and that you use that instead of dog food. Almost 10 p.m. in the north. Need to head for sleep. Shalom. Hope to see you in 2 weeks. Me too, Vicky. Thank you for swinging by. Stevia plants and honey are going to be our sweets go-to most of the time. Yeah, I forget stevia, but stevia is a sweetener and it's a plant and it's pretty easy to use and you can grow it yourself. But then we stumbled upon this tree sap thing and it's not terribly labor intensive. I mean, the tree does the work and it, pushes the sap out and then you process the sap.
Just the boiling down, which honestly we didn't do, Kitty.
Right. The boiling down is the hardest part. But I mean, if you have a pot and something to set it on and some wood, you can boil it down. Like it's not technologically that difficult to get it. And we heard that over in Korea, they will just drink the sap. They don't bother to boil it down to get it concentrated. It's kind of like a health drink for them. So there's another option to use the sap. Big Bad John, give my best to the big dude upstairs. I'm not sure of whom you're speaking. You may speak to him yourself. You can put Manuka honey on wounds. Yes, we've heard that. I wonder because I have a list of what you can put in homemade dog food, but I've never heard goat head clover, cockleburrs, cat claw, thistlewell, lots of pokey things. And cactuses, Wes. Let's not forget the state flower. I have a list of what you put in homemade dog food. I never heard of anyone calling it dog rice. At least
That's
it's
my
not
invention.
not worms. Was
I just-
afraid of
I
that
just made
answer.
that up, dog rice.
Yeah, no,
it's rice that we set aside specifically
Yeah.
for the dogs as opposed to people.
right. It's not a thing. It just
It is
became
I
a
invented
thing.
it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
today
popularized all
it's,
across the
it's
country.
12 hours old.
So you
Spaz
guys are in
Mama.
on it first. Use the term freely.
Yeah, you're in on the ground floor of the dog rice phrase. My stevia plant didn't do very well this year. We've had stevia plants that did great, but then I didn't do anything with it. I should have dehydrated it or something, and I don't know if they'll winter over. In Texas. Oh, that's right. Goat head clover, cockleburrs. I know what cockleburrs are. Don't know what cat claw. I know what thistle is. Thistle, the thing I hate about thistle is you can eat it, and supposedly you can use it as a rennet to make milk turn into the wheys and curd. But man, it's a pain, and it wants to grow everywhere. I just feed my dog the neighbor's cats. All right, you feed your dog the rats, all right, brother? My stevia plant is going on the 4th year. Over to Bus, but you're in California, right? Do you get freezing temperatures, or do you bring it in, or something like that? And it shall bring forth thorns and thistles for you. Yes, it will. And you shall eat the plant of the field. Yes, it does. They are everywhere. We use dog sled rice up here. More expensive. Purple thistle good. White thistle bad. What? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yes. The purple thistle is the head that you can use. Okay. And what's wrong with white thistle? I've never heard
never
of it.
seen white thistle.
Yeah, never heard of it. What is white thistle? I thought you were saying white clover's bad, and I was like, no, it's not. I've got white clover heads I use for tea, and they're great. Excuse me. Only with goat's milk or sheep's milk, Sister K. Okay, so are you talking about you can only turn it into curds and whey with the thistle if it's goat milk or sheep's milk? Because I've actually done an experiment, and here I just left the goat milk out on the counter for a night, and the temperature was correct, high 70s, and it turned without me adding anything to it. In Southern California, no freezing. All right, so over to Bus, that's why your stevia is 4 years old. Everyone is getting off the land. Makes me yearn to be back out on our land. We're in the process of getting approved for a home loan, and I can't wait. And it's all stuff that white thistle is opium thistle's deadly cousin. I never heard of opium thistle either.
I think he's making it
Is
all
he
up.
sassinous? Are you sassinous about this stuff?
No, I don't think he is.
Yes, it makes cow's milk funky. Okay. Whew.
Love you, Albo. Be safe.
Yeah,
brother.
love you, Albo. Get some dehydrator and dehydrate some peas, brother, and some carrots and some corns and stuff. Get rid of that spam. Dog spam.
Dog spam.
It's dog spam. You want brisket. All right. The opium poppy is a type of thistle.
Can you dehydrate spam?
Why would you want to? You're making dog chips with dehydrated spam. Get out of here. Get out of here. You know better. It's horrible for you. Boots kill burgrass. It's spider webs that get me.
Do you know you can use spider webs as an anticoagulant?
Yes, you can
wound?
use spider webs as like a band-aid. That's where originally band-aids were just spider
It's also
webs.
an anticoagulant.
So how are you going to make it not coagulate? You eat
Or
it?
it isn't. No, it's not an anticoagulant. It makes you scab up. That's a coagulant, right?
I think a coagulant makes your blood thicken. I don't
Right,
know
I
if
do
it's the
too,
same
so-
word for scabbing up. Maybe.
Yeah.
You
and
can-
now is leaving. See, we need him. But yeah, you can put spider webs
Too
on.
much
Stops
icky
bleeding.
in it. Exactly. Track right. Yes, you can dehydrate spam. Potted meat too.
But why would
But
you?
why would you? Why would you want to have that in your body? Don't do it. But they're all tore up by the time I get them off.
Because he goes crazy. He's like, ah, spiders, spiders.
Spiders! Spider webs.
Is Albo still here?
I have no idea. He probably actually went to sleep. Spider webs.
Albo, are you still here?
Spider webs are kind of funky. I'm not gonna lie. You can't always see them, and all of a sudden you're. You know, recently I've been sucked into watching historical Korean dramas. It's interesting to watch them do traditional cooking. Whoa. And do other things from hundreds of years ago. Yes, I mean, I agree. Some of the things any ancient civilization does are fascinating to me. Like, I found, I mean, I can't even tell, Smithsonian or Bible Archaeology Review had an article about them finding, a 2,000-year-old clay oven, stove thing. And so they wanted to recreate it. So they went to the same area and got the clay and shaped this. It looked kind of like a space capsule almost, very rounded deal, but it had a hole in the middle. And then they let it sit for like 3 days and harden up. And then they did a fire in it to harden it. And then they did what, people in that area did. They made some kind of dough and then they stuck it inside that oven. I don't know if they stuck it on the wall of it or if they put it down in the ashes of it, and they cooked their bread that way. And I thought, oh man, I want to do that too. I want to try making a clay oven out of my own clay. I haven't gotten around to it. Something else I'm doing right now is there's a picture on Instagram that it looked like a giant spider, and I said, what is this? I'm taking grapevines and I'm making a basket out of it. And every time I think of it and just doing it, it's like so many people around the world wound up doing vines or hair or grasses into baskets because it helps you carry stuff,
They make these little baskets in Alaska, the Eskimos do, out of some kind of pretty thick hair.
Seal hair or something.
It's not seal hair. I can't remember.
Walrus whiskers or
What it is.
something.
It's something thick, like elephant hair.
Yes,
It's about that thick,
yeah.
and they are so expensive for like a little basket.
Right, because you've got to sit there. The thing is, you got to get all those fibers tight enough that the thing will hold together when you start exerting pressure, like you start carrying rocks or something in it. Prickly pear and eggs. Geese finger. Uh-oh, Washington just reported a second virus death. Oh, snap.
Come out of her, my people!
Come out of her, my people!
Lest you participate in her sins and partake of her plagues.
The thistle with the white flowers is not okay to eat. Google will say it is okay in moderation, but Google also says you cannot eat prickly pear. Okay, well, if I ever see a thistle with a white flower, then I'm leaving it alone. You don't have to tell me twice. I'm not a mushroom hunter either. I know there's 4 edible mushrooms. I've only ever known for a fact I've gotten morels, and they are absolutely delicious. But I am
That's the only
not.
ones we're gonna eat.
I am not going to try to identify edible mushrooms or taste test them or anything else because I just don't know enough, and I'm not willing to risk it. Just not going to do it. There's enough other edibles that I know
Yeah,
for
there's really
certain.
no nutrition in a mushroom,
Right.
so it's not worth the risk.
One of my favorite wild foods is first cousin to poison ivy. Mine is
Sweetbriar.
Curly Dock and Hey Star Riot, 1776. I cleaned out all the area dollar stores today for hand sanitizer, over 3 gallons. An outdoor fire cooking set, that sounds great, Westhold Forge. I just found Chag on my land this year. What is
Did he
Chag?
file a trespassing report? I'm just kidding.
Chaga. What is that, Haunted?
I don't know what it is either.
That's why we have Sasquatch test the mushrooms.
Hi, Ozark Geek.
Hey, Ozark Geek, shalom, shalom. How you doing? No, I like lamb's quarter. Lamb's quarter it's great. It's great cooked. It's great on sandwiches. I really enjoy it. Evergreen sumac. Okay, sumac. The fruit tastes like green apples. There you go. And you can make the staghorn sumac lemonade out of the berries, and that's pretty tasty too. It's a mushroom growth that grows on birches usually.
We don't have birches here.
Yeah, we don't have birches. So is it edible? Haunted? I am loving wild.
Don't they use that in fire pistons, Chaga? I think they do. Ask them if they.
Chaga and fire pistons?
Yeah, I think they do.
Hang on, wait a minute. I'm loving wild auroch and lamb's quarter. I don't know what wild auroch is. I do know what lamb's quarter is. It's so yummy and it just grows on its own. It's off. Mushroom identification certification course. I thought about taking it until I looked at the price. I don't need mushrooms that much. And right now we can still get morels in portobello mushrooms in the store. Good to go. Great health addition and being used for cancer. Good. I have tried to make activated.
Miss Pickle said all mushrooms are edible. Some only once.
I have tried to make activated charcoal. What a mess. Right, Spaz Mama? It's supposed to be charcoal that's gotten wet before, or charcoal that's been cooked twice or something. Like, dude, if you're that bad off, just eat the charcoal right out of the fire pit.
You actually can. You can mix it up, mix it with water to the consistency of a milkshake.
Right, it's
And drink
consistency
it,
of a
and it helps
milkshake.
deactivate poison and stuff.
Right, exactly. But activated, they're like, activated has to be, cooked twice or something. I'm like, forget that. If you think you ate something bad, just get that stuff out of the fire pit there and put some water and drink it.
Or get some Ipecac.
Right? Make yourself vomit or something. I mean, just, ugh. Chaga is a mushroom. Okay. Auroch is a cousin to spinach, and we grow a purple version of it. Well, that sounds delightful. Chog is a great fire tender.
Yeah, it's the stuff you use in a fire piston.
Have BJ give you my contact info. Got radio questions if you don't mind. I found sassafras in my in-laws' place this week.
Wow.
That's-
I've looked for that here and never found any.
That's awesome. Because you can take the sassafras root, right, and make like root beer, but you can also take the tender twigs and use them as a kind of toothbrush. You just kind of shred the end of it, and it tastes okay too. That's fantastic. Excellent. Very happy. So it sounds like we're all on board with knowing a little bit about natural plants, which I think is a very useful skill. Could be even more so coming up in the near future. Oh, okay. Wait, Track Rock, did you say hand sanitizer? You did, right? Got like 3 gallons of hand sanitizer? Stew on the campfire charcoal that gets in consistency of a milkshake. Yum! Can't wait to dig into that. Charcoal isn't hard to make. Check it out online, right? Activated charcoal is what they give my son when he decided to get in his great father's time-released morphine. Yeah. Used to harvest sass for the neighbor lady. I wasn't a big fan, but she loved it.
Chris, shalom.
Hey, shalom. Did your taps finally come following Yeshua? Were you able? Yes, we do have willow trees here over the bus. Sometimes
We have wild ones, and then the one we planted.
we have wild ones, and sometimes they grow where we don't want them. Elderberries. Try getting a 3-year-old to drink that, right? You kind of have to hold their nose and just hollow it in, or just get it in there.
Beer bong.
But I mean, just think of the beauty of that. That charcoal can be used to help you in situations like that when, you're either that or you're going to have to pump their stomach or something, which is horrible. My brother had to have that done. It's just awful. What else was I going to say?
Tell them it's probably too late to tap the trees this season.
Right. Yeah. No, Amazon lost them, so I had to reorder again, but they will be here tomorrow. Hallelujah. Okay, so here's the bad news. The trees that we've been tapping, the sap started turning green or coming up and it was green. And that's a sign that the season is done. Like, you do not continue tapping if the sap comes out and it's greenish.
So it's probably done there.
And it's probably done in your area too, but certainly try. Don't just take our word for it. Try your trees. If your sap is green, you have to stop until fall comes. But what you're looking for is temperatures under freezing at night and up to 50-ish during the day. That's the perfect time. So if it's the season's over for us now, we can try again in the fall.
Which we're going to.
Which we're going to.
We're not going into business.
What's better, the red or black elderberry bushes? Black. It's called Sambuca nigra.
Sambuca nigra does not grow in the United States. It only grows in Europe.
And Pastor says it doesn't grow here. It only grows in Europe. I don't know what we've got, though. I guess
Right,
it
it's
must
not
be.
Sambuca nigra, though.
It's a different one, but I don't think ours is the red because the berries are very, very dark. You cannot eat the stems of elderberry. You can only eat the berries, and you have to cook them in some way. You got to make pie or jam or something. You don't eat elderberries raw. PJ, bug deterrence done today. Some corn. Excellent.
Good. I'm happy.
Yeah, good job. The South wasn't a good year for tree tapping this year. We
We were happy.
We did okay. We were super excited to have the 3 quarts we got. Okay. No! I'm suing Amazon. We should have never done a video on it, brother, right?
No, now he's got it for next year.
Well,
but
that's true.
Actually, he'll probably really need it next year if things keep going the way they're going.
Well, that's true too. And you can make your own. That's the other thing. It has to be about the same size and shape, and you can make your own. So no reason for anyone to panic, but yeah.
David Campbell picked a metric ton of elderberries when he was a kid.
Okay, Wes says a lot of herbal medicines are ingredients in prescription meds. Absolutely. Be cautious when using any herbal if you are heavily doctored with modern medicines. Yeah, activated charcoal comes in capsules, and it also comes in a bottle, because when you're an EMT, they give you that, and they say, just stick a straw in it and have the person drink it. Wow. It's not so hard to cut the stem and take the whole elderberry, but then you got to roll all the berries off the stems. But
it makes good jam.
It's really a pain in the rear end, but it makes a very tasty jam. Right, Ohio trees are still flowing. We are in a zone cooler. Right, so yours probably starts a little bit later. And later.
Shalom, Shield Maiden.
Hey, Shalom, Shield Maiden. Been working on building the pantry, making it better. Excellent. Lost a friend last year to overdose due to buying an herbal cure for his condition without consulting his doctor. So
there's a reason that in days of old there were herbalists and there were witch doctors or the village whatever who told you how to use the portions and the potions and stuff. They were basically dosing you. because yeah, it can hurt you. Just because it's natural doesn't mean you can't get hurt by it.
Right. Some natural things you're using to treat something, but you don't want to go overboard with it.
Hey, David Campbell has a good idea. You see that comment?
You
there?
can use a broad comb to.
That's a
Oh.
good idea.
Oh. I really like that idea. I wish I'd heard that before I wore my fingers out doing
To the
that
bone.
thing. To the bone, getting that stuff out. And the cool thing about the elderberries, when you get them and you want to make jam, you don't have to have the pectin because they have a natural pectin in it. So the recipe calls for something like 7 cups of berries, some vinegar, and then you just cook it until it starts to get thick. It's really tasty. Mom's mother and hers were wise women. Or just a fork, David Campbell. His prescription and the herbal cure had equal amounts of the same compound. 2 months into the treatment, his body just stopped working.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you're taking a medicine, the medicine, whatever it is, has to go like through your stomach and in your bloodstream and all that. But it's also going to go through your liver and your kidneys. And if it's something, that's why, there's side effects. There's side effects to having too much Tylenol. It wears your liver out. They can only process so much of whatever it is. And then if you force it to do more, then you damage it. You damage your organ and your organ can't do its job properly and so on and so on. So there's a certain amount of. Patriot Nurse just did a video about natural remedies. She recommended the book of the course she took for herbology. Okay, topped off a lot of food this week. Have lots of veggies planted, and when husband gets home, we
Hello,
will
Susan
start the
Bryant.
main garden. Susan Bryant, excellent. Are you coming to the meetup on a... Hey, Sergeant James. Dr. Google will kill you. You have to be smart. You have to do your research. That's why I say, like, if I have not tried something myself as far as herbals or essential oils or something like the fire cider or whatever, I
don't believe it.
can't recommend it. I have to have tried it myself before I can say absolutely it worked. Like with the tea tree oil. I
Yeah.
used it on a bite that Pastor had that was getting infected and was not
Brown
responding to
recluse.
Neosporin.
Yeah.
So whatever is in tea tree was what that bacteria didn't like because it immediately got better the next day. And that's when I was sold on tea tree for certain things. It doesn't work for everything, but it worked for that bite. And so, right? We did a ton of heirloom seeds at the grocery that was going out of business. Ooh, sweet. Still have snow. Elderberry bushes ordered as well.
You can find them most of the time on the side of the road.
Well, we did. We found them on the side of the road.
And then they just grew here on our road when we built it. I don't know where they came from.
Right? And someone told me that elderberries are actually having to be passed through a bird's gut system. So the elderberries we saw were a plant that I noticed on the side of the road, and I said, that looks like something. And then it got this really big flowering head on it, and I said, that's not for nothing, something. And then when we did the research, we found out they were elderberries, and they were all over the city where we lived. So somebody or some bird had been dropping those elderberries all along the roads, and there were bushes, 6 feet tall and 10 feet wide, growing these berries, and people were driving by them every day and didn't even notice that they were there. What a resource. I think that's true of all remedies meds, just another addition to your alternative toolbox. Got to know how to use them. Exactly. I have searched in our area like a crazy lady. No luck. And I don't even know where they're supposed to be growing. I don't know if elderberries need cold or hot or both or water. I mean, so don't feel bad, Susan. It's smart that you ordered some for yourself. Several herbal supplements, but we don't have daily intakes on anything like that. Exactly. Anybody tried pickled blueberries? I made a jar last year. Weirdly delicious.
Waste of blueberries.
And, no, weirdly
What a waste of
delicious.
blueberries.
And blueberries are excellent for you. They are. And sure. Honey, We said that about pickled green beans, and they were really good.
Blueberries are delicious, just like they are. Why would you want to mess them up?
Be sure not to use elderberry on or around dogs. Okay. I make a gumball tea every summer and fall. It's great for the flu. So what is gumball tea?
That's those. Oh, maybe not. I don't know.
What is gumball tea? Is that like those big round balls that fall off sycamore trees or whatever? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought they were talking about, but maybe they're not. Like a sweet gum tree. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought too, Spaz Mama. Sweet gum tree, but I don't know what they're talking about.
My mother-in-law is an bilberry. We've taken cuttings from the elderberry bush and are propagating and rooting out. Grandma Ginger's farm, I need to do that. Our elderberries are way too tall. They're like 30 feet tall. It's really hard to get the fruit. I need to go do cuttings, root them and move them down closer to the house and out where they're not, having to get really, really leggy. And we found the ones that we can see on our one road, but there's also one that's growing in the middle of the woods, really leggy out that way behind the goat pen. So, I mean, that's another, hopefully we get all our projects done this year. That's another one. I've been waiting, the whole Shimata year. I wanted to do that. I ordered elderberry off Amazon. I got 10 switches and only 2 lived. Yeah, some people took cuttings off my bushes last year, and I don't know that anybody's cuttings lived. It's not, super, super easy. 27-ish or -2 Canuck. Oh my gosh. Sweet gum tree. Okay, I use tea tree in my hair, and I have awesome hair. I'm sure that has something to do with it, Westhold Forge. It has nothing to do with your genetics. It's that tea tree. Oh, correction. She said tea tree, not elderberry. Okay, good to know. I haven't used it on my dogs. They've got their own med. The elderberries grew along the edges of fields and the railroad tracks like weeds, so many that we couldn't eat all of them. Such a curse. They are green, yes, sweet gum tree. Okay. Something shouldn't be pickled. Pickled blueberries are good. Fried pickles, too. People didn't like that idea, and they taste all right. Have lots of fish, mocks, fort, and injectable animal penicillin bacterial infections might be more prevalent than viral. During shit, it's a fan. Well, it's true. I mean, bacterial.
We're getting ready to make another run.
The good thing about being a modern person is we understand what bacteria is and generally where they come from and how to take care of. I mean, just washing your hands a couple times a day at least with warm soap and water will take care of most bacteria. It's when you're in something filthy, like you're in an area like a farmyard where it's water with manure in it. Was that a goat? Yeah.
Oh,
It's a door. And you fall in that, and then you don't have time to clean yourself, and you walk with this bacteria all over you for 5 miles, and you have a small cut, and you don't have time to get after it right when it happens. That's when
hygiene's going to be really important.
Right, you're going to start getting your
bad
infections, and hygiene will, if you know that, like we do, what germs are and what bacteria are, just keeping clean is going to really help with that. And then having that backup, fish mocks and whatever. Just know that if you get injectable penicillin that is meant for animals,
you got to get V-Procaine.
it's got to be V-Procaine because it's going to have in it something that's a painkiller. Because if you just inject penicillin without a painkiller, it burns bad.
And V-Procaine is used for goats a lot.
Yeah,
goats don't like pain. We should have Elbow back here.
V-Procaine is used for goats because goats don't like pain. And so it's not, you can't just inject them with any penicillin. It's really... Is sweet gum related to witch hazel? Does anyone know what the fish Cipro is called? Most of the fam is allergic to penicillin. There is tetracycline. I don't know if that's the in the penicillin family, but I don't know. I'm not an expert on the fish moxes and all that.
Tell her to just Google fish Cipro.
Just Google it, Pastor's saying. Couple of drops of tea tree oil in our shampoo prevents lice. When my oldest was in public school, he never once got lice, even when they closed the school for a week. Good tip. Dyeing your hair will also kill lice, and it's cheaper than some of those kits. I think that'll be good, but
We love you, brother Chris.
We do love you, brother Chris. Get some rest.
I don't think he's leaving. I just think he's saying thank you.
Mm-hmm. Elderberry cuttings root better in cooler temps around 45 to 55. Well, maybe that was their problem. Maybe they weren't keeping them cool enough. He will send you some. Okay. Your streams and all the comments. I learned so much from these streams. Oh, yeah.
There's smart people on here.
There are lots of smart people on here. And we're trying to share the love and the joy. We like your live streams too, brother. It's really good to see the community. It's really good to see people of
It's
faith.
cool to see the same people in all the live streams too. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, it is neat to see the same people, but it's also neat to see that there are people that we haven't met yet that are still of one mind, that we're still together in Yeshua and our beliefs. And I was talking about that earlier in the live stream. Fish flocks. Flocks.
Yeah, if you just Google it, you can get Cipro.
Just, Pastor
I
saying,
think they did. That's how they know it's fish flocks.
yeah. Following Yeshua, we get a lot from your stuff, so thank you. Absolutely.
I was holding him up today to somebody.
Who?
Somebody was saying, "How do I do this? You know, with no money?" And I said, "Well, I know how you can do it with a little money." And then I explained, two different people who've done it, and Chris has done a great job. I said he started with, trees up to the edge of the road, and now he has.
Oh yeah, you're one of our testimonies, brother Chris. When people say, "I don't know if I can do it. I don't have enough money," and blah blah, we tell them all about how you managed to just drag your family out in the middle of nowhere and cut yourself a home. Yep, cut yourself a home literally out of the woods. Just grateful I keep a notebook with me. Well, there is some wisdom we're trying to lay out. Such an awesome community in many different settings. Amen. During the country kids would mix sweet gum sap with chewing gum as a stretcher. Oh, cool. Bless you. Can we see Torah teachings on the off sermon videos? Can we see Torah teaching on the off sermon videos? So he's saying you're going to get Torah teaching when you watch the sermons. He's saying, can we also do Torah teaching separate from the sermons?
I don't understand the question. What do you mean, can you do it?
You do it, or me do it. Like do a lesson on Torah off the sermon. I'm not allowed to do it except for women, right? I can do it for women.
Yeah.
But he's saying you do them separate from a sermon.
I don't know. I do what I do.
He says he does what he does. My oldest came home with lice from his dad's. We all had it before I knew what it was. Got rid of mine by cutting my hair with mayonnaise and leave it on for several hours and go over it with a fine tooth comb. We like your live streams, brother Chris, and my phone almost always dies. Okay, hey Biddy Boo, all the cheap land is well east of where we want to be. Yeah, I'm not very educated, but I know my tea tree. I just got the notification. If you don't mind texting me your Instagram name, because I was looking through my requests and I couldn't find anything that said Biddy Boo. So if it's under something else, please text it to me, Biddy Boo. I'm trying to find a charger that I can use at the same time as the streams. It's funny, most of my YouTube watch is full of Hebrews. And you're knee deep in Hebrews, brother. Get your respirator out. It's because the skill that you have is of interest to people who want to live a more agricultural, simpler lifestyle, brother. That's all it is. You just happen to pick your right. Your hobby is one that's of value to a lot of people in our faith walk. Lives were brought back in by illegals. I don't think it ever left.
Yeah, I don't
tell
think
you the
it ever
truth,
left
Track
either.
Rock. We lived up in the Pacific Northwest, and it was rampant up there before the illegals showed up. We have to research for land. We got an acre with septic for $3K. That's pretty good. The father is working on you, Westhold Forge. And decor and s'mores. Lavender oil is another good one for respiratory issues. And I have tried lavender oil on skin stuff because it's supposed to be good for skin things, and I have pretty good results with that too. So you all, lice are part of life. Just add soap and water. Actually, lice like cleaner people better. The dirtier and grubbier you are, the less they like you.
No more baths.
That's right. Rosemary is good for asthmatics. Awesome. Oh, yeah. I keep wanting to make the point about this illness that is spreading and how easily spread it is,
Which shall not be named.
which we are not going to name. But if you look at Italy, Italy had 5 cases like a week and a half ago, and they're over 1,000 now. That transmissibility, that spreadability, and we're not talking about peanut butter or mayonnaise. We're talking about how easy it is for it to be passed to people, is where the danger lies. Not that it's super fatal.
But we've
Ebola's
had people for longer than that had it, more people. We've had like 12 people who've had it in the U.S. for a longer time than Italy had 1 case.
But ours quarantine more
Right.
effectively.
That's how we're treating it, right?
Right. We're quarantining very. My prediction last week for today was exceeded. Yeah, like it's especially because Brother Chris and I talked about this. We both did videos about this. Third world countries that don't have the same medical care. It's going to spread like wildfire. And Iran is a perfect example. Northern Italy is a very sophisticated place. I've been there. The people dress like models, and the food is exquisite. I don't know anything about their medical care. And I also, they are a very social culture. Like the whole family goes out for walks together. And we were in, what's the place where the David is? Starts with an F, that city. I can't think of it right now. It was in the middle part of the country. And we were out in the evening, and the streets were just full of people walking, having their gelatos after having had dinner.
Hanging out in the square.
Hanging out in the square and the piazzas. And so that may be why it's spreading so fast there, is that they're just very social, and they're used to being out and visiting with everybody and out and around in the town, walking. A lot of them like walking. That's what the plazas are for. That you don't drive your car there, you park and then you stroll around and you look at the architecture and everything. But South Korea is not unsophisticated, but again, they're very social, on the street, talking, doing things. And so that's where the danger lies. That's where you have to be careful. If it's getting close to you, you want to cut off contact. You want to quarantine yourself, and you want to wait until all the
It burns through.
Yeah, 14-day, 27-day, whatever. Give yourself, maybe up to 3 months for it to just burn through, and you avoid it so you don't catch it. So I wanted to make that point. All right. Have family in Olala does not look good. It spread so much that Europe and Asia are nothing but red blobs on my phone. Right?
How long have we been going?
Almost 2 hours. If you're in the U.S., stock up on hot sauce. Roadkill becomes palatable with enough hot sauce. Get out of here. Track Rock, you sound like Wes S. For a lot of us, we can't eat roadkill. It depends on what it is. Come out of for my people, so I did. That's right, 3 months. Exactly. Right, roadkill, we can't eat that. But you can do things like no wild edibles. and put
You shouldn't have
stuff.
to resort to the roadkill. You should be raising. You should have enough stored food, and then beyond that, raising critters.
Right, you should have enough stored
Maybe a
food
video on
and
that.
raising your own animals that you don't have to eat roadkill. But also, you can plant things that are going to bear you a lot of food. You get one squash plant that does okay, it's going to give you like 30 pounds of squash. If you plant some trees, the best time to plant a fruit tree was 10 years ago. Plant them now. Dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties of fruit trees are going to bear fruit within the first year or two. And by the fifth year, they're going to be bearing a bunch. So you want to have stuff already either located in your area or you have it on your property that are going to bear fruit for you in a good number. Perennial things and wild things. I mean, you get one lamb's quarter plant and you let it grow and throw seeds down. You're going to have a whole patch of lamb's quarter. It's great dried, it's great fresh, etc. Chicken and quail are pretty prolific. Yeah, I know, and there's that guy doing it Dutch or keeping it Dutch or whatever who has several videos on how to do quail. And quail don't take up much room to raise, and they get, they get to an eating weight fast enough. I mean, come on now, you guys, you got to be on top of this. If you even have a chicken or two for each person, that chicken's going to lay you an egg every day or two. There's your protein. You don't even have to be more complex than that. An egg will do you. You'll be fine. You don't have to go pick up the dead rotten possum. You can just have your omelet or your scrambled eggs and you'll be fine. Exactly. That's exactly right, David. I quit picking up chicks when I started dating Sister Kate. Decon, how do you do it? You want to take that, Pastor?
It's too long for me to do it now. I might do a video on it.
Pastor says it's too long for him to do here on Decon, but he may do a video on it. Good night, all. Bless you. Yep.
Bye, Mrs. Pickles.
Good night. Nope, you pick possums like peaches out of trees because they're hanging there by their tail, right? And you can
They
just
bleed a lot when you shoot them too.
Right.
Dang.
Good night. Okay.
Good night, Star Riot.
All right. I've been spraying everyone down with Lysol spray before they get in my vehicle, especially if we're going to Walmart or the doctor's office. We now are carrying around our own hand sanitizer and hand sanitizing when we're ever in public. Washing your hands with soap and water too.
Every time
Really
I'm a
does
really
good.
good hand washer in public bathrooms now. Soap, hot water, long time.
Yeah. But the water should be warm at least.
Right, I wait till it warms up.
Yeah. Cold water, but warm water, better. I planted 3 fruit trees 2 weeks ago, I think. 2 weeks ago? Come on, Westhold. You gotta know somebody who's got some more mature fruit trees than that. Roadkill skunks are a dime a dozen in North Carolina. Yeah. And who wants to go pick them up? I think it's just the season. It's breeding season. There were a
Yeah,
lot
it
of them
is.
in Texas too.
Spring and fall.
They're on the move finding the other skunks. Hey, you smell so stinky. I think I like you. Wes says, coyotes, be right back. Go get him, Wes. Had beautiful fruit trees, then the floods killed them. Aw. I'm sorry.
We should end.
Okay. Pastor's telling me we've been on for an hour and 48 minutes and 5 seconds. We need to go. Okay, y'all. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for all your input. Biddy Boo, please text me about your Instagram. And bless all y'all. Be safe. Be watchful. Be careful. Be ready. Shalom.
Bless y'all.
Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Good night. Shalom.